Rishihood is probably India's first and only impact university. And we started in 2020, but I think the seeds for the university started way back. So our founders had initiated, rather started this initiative called as the Vision India Foundation, through which we went ahead and trained more than 2,500, 3,000 students across various gamuts. So right from students who were in colleges to people who were bureaucrats, people who were in the army, people who were from diverse backgrounds and who wanted to do something within the public leadership domain, started engaging with us through various shorter programs. So that was how we started the seed for something which could bring in a sort of systemic change within the way our society functioned, within the way the country wanted to go ahead. One of our focus areas is nation building. We want to ensure that all of our students, when they pass out from the throes of the university, they are able to contribute towards the growth of the nation as a whole. So I think we started that off with the Vision India Foundation, which then culminated to the Rishihood University in 2020, where we decided that we wanted to focus on certain areas of impact, because I think creating impact is at the core of everything that we do at Rishihood. And we figured out that let's focus on these 4 to 5 areas, which include areas of entrepreneurship. You have areas of creativity, you have healthcare, you have education, you have public leadership. So these are 5 areas that we broadly categorize, and we decided that each of these areas has the power to not just prepare our students for the future, but actually define what the future could be as well. So programs have been created under these 5 areas, and that's how we started in 2020, and we're here now 3 years later, looking for individuals, curious minds to join us who would believe in this overall vision. We probably are one of those very few universities, or maybe the only one, which has a 100-year vision and which is planted on our website, planted on every particular communication that we have as well. So naturally, that is how we, want to move ahead, and that's how, in a nutshell, how Rishihood is as well. At the undergrad level, we have courses. So if you look at our School of Creativity, it offers programs in Bachelor's in Design and Master's in Design. You have the School of Education, which offers the Bachelor's in Psychology, Bachelor's Honors in Psychology. You have the School of Healthcare, which offers programs within the healthcare domains, but these courses are focused on public health as well as hospital administration. So that is one part. We have the School of Public Leadership, which focuses on the Bachelor's of Economics in honors and a 1-year postgraduate diploma in public leadership. That becomes the offerings there. And then we have a School of Entrepreneurship. We don't call it School of Management or School of, or a business school for that matter, because the idea is not to just focus on those areas. The idea is to focus on setting out a very entrepreneurial thinking and entrepreneurial mindset in our students. So under the School of Entrepreneurship, we have courses in BBA, we have a BCom honors, we also have an MBA program that is delivered. So these are mostly the courses. Now, if you look at the undergrad program, as part of RU's vision, as part of Rishihood's vision, there are 3 areas that we focus on. One is what we call as Vichar Nirman, which is basically a construction of thought. How do we help build the child, develop the thoughts that are necessary to go ahead? Then we have something called as Vyakti Nirman, which is basically character formation. How do we form the character of a child when he is going ahead as well? And the third one is Vyavastha Nirman, which is basically bringing in systemic change within our society and likewise. So I think all of the programs, all of the courses, the way that they are delivered are keeping in these 3 aspects in mind, these 3 components in mind as well. So at the undergrad level, the students have a common foundation semester. So whether you enroll for a design program or you enroll for a psychology or you enroll for a BBA, you will go through a common semester which touch bases on various aspects. The focus there is to build a strong foundation where you can, you can understand the larger problems. For example, we do a course in the foundation semester is called the RU Essentials program, and we deliver a program in that called as the Global Grand Challenges. Why should your education only be limited to just seeking a certain placement at the end of 3-4 years or 2 years of a master's or likewise? It needs to be with a purpose that you need to solve the challenges that the global arena is facing. So We are having conversations on terrorism. We are having conversations on the inequitable distribution of income. We're having conversations on sustainability. So these are the sort of topics that the students will go through in the foundation semester as well. And then a lot more, preparation for the digital world. So they have courses on digital initiatives. They have courses on writing. They have courses on the science of living. How do you live your life? Because ultimately, for all of our students, I think there are three main um, areas that we want our children to sort of focus. And these are curiosity, the desire to know that you should be curious. We have courage for curious. I can be very curious, but I need the courage to go ahead and do something. So we want them to be courageous. And at the same time, when you are curious, you find the courage to do things. But at the end of the day, whatever you're doing needs to bring you joy. Because if you're not happy, you're not joyful in what you're actually being, then I think it's not going to help you out anyway. So every aspect of the RU Essentials is developed to ensure that the child has exposure to all of these three. At the end of the first semester, and obviously during the RU Essentials program, apart from the skill-based learning, apart from the skill-based courses that they do, they also get peer view or rather a peek view into each of the other programs as well. So I might be a design student, but I will do a couple of sessions from maybe psychology. And at the end of the first semester, if the student thinks that, at the end of this foundation, I've built my foundation, I learned about so many other disciplines as well, and maybe I'm primed for a different program altogether, they have the choice to go ahead and shift to another particular program. Once they do that, naturally they move ahead with their course, they deep dive, they specialize, they understand the depths of that particular area as well. And towards the third year, if they wish to add up, bulk up their entire skill set, they want to add more perspectives to it, then they take a minor specialization. If they move to the fourth year, which is more research driven in any of the programs, then naturally if they want to add up an additional specialization and take in those perspectives as well, they could do that. And across all of their programs, undergrad, postgrad, they are interspersed with different projects, which are industry projects as well, where they work with companies. We have associations with various organizations. They also do a lot of community projects. So our students have, rather, we've adopted a couple of villages close by. They go ahead, they work with these villages on their problems. What is the issue? If there is sustainable infrastructure issue, can my design students provide a certain solution? If there is an issue of, mental health issues within that particular community as well, can my psychology students use concepts of neurosciences and actually help these villagers? So I think there is a lot of component, a lot of work that students put in. And one of our, like I said, what the focus area is that you should be able to create impact, social impact, public impact, whichever way. And if you're able to do that, then I think you're best suited for the university as such. So let me be very frank. For the 2023 intake, for students who are joining us in 2003, and I've been very open about this at any particular forum as well, I'm not looking at thousands and 2,000s and 3,000 students to join me. Across all of my 9 programs, whether it's undergrad, whether it is postgrad, I'm only looking at 200 students to join. But these 200 students have to be absolutely curious. They have to be open to explore newer things. A lot of the curriculum that is based both in undergrad as well as postgrad draws from the Indian knowledge systems, draws from the Indic knowledge systems. We deep dive within our own scriptures, and I think we've had so much, so much that we've given to the world, but we've not been able to sort of churn that across into our education. For example, if you look at Sanskrit alone has, Panini has actually written about almost 42 alphabets. And that has a certain reference in a lot of concepts in physics where Western scientists have utilized that particular number of 42 to go ahead and explain how the universe works, how your galaxies work. So I think we already have a lot of solutions within our scriptures, and we try and see if we can pull out something from the Indic knowledge systems as well. So that is part of our entire curriculum. Now, I don't need a student who comes and says, okay, boss, this is not something that I can do at all. I need a student who's open enough to accept more and more and more knowledge from different perspectives, knowledge from different thoughts, and then be able to build the entire institution together. So we're only looking for 200 curious minds to join us across all of our courses. The application process and the admission process is a very simple process. And the concept of impact is also sort of a part of the way that we've created the admission process. All of the students who wish to apply to us have to go through an online application form, which has multiple sections. So it naturally captures your academic prowess, your extracurricular achievements. And likewise, it also has a particular section which is on the statement of purpose. So we would like the students to really, really take that as a very strong component. It has a very strong weightage in your overall selection. That is the area where you can actually tell me about yourself. It's like a love letter that you write to the university. So you need to tell me in all honesty as to what is it that makes you the right fit for the university as well. And that becomes the online application part. Once the application is done, we do conduct our own aptitude exam, which is the RSAT, the Rishihood Scholarship and Aptitude Test, at both the undergrad and postgrad levels. For postgrad, of course, like for an MBA student, if you have any of the national entrance exams, you could apply to us with those scores as well. But at the undergrad level, if you do not want to wait till CUET, then you can obviously give the RSAT and go through with the process. And once the RSAT is done, we make an interview process, which is mandatory with our admissions panel as well as a faculty panel. We do like to interact with our students and find out how this thing, how the student can be with us and how we can help the student as well. And post all of these things, the student is sort of evaluated on multiple parameters. The total score decides whether they're selected. If they're selected, do they get a merit scholarship or not, whichever way. The other thing in terms of an impact quotient that we did with the admission process is we have made something called as a Rishihood Catalyst program available to all of our applicants. So whether it's an undergrad or a postgrad student, all of these applicants, anyone who has applied to Rishihood for any program, goes through a mandatory set of 6 to 10 counseling sessions, 6 to 10 online sessions, sometimes even more than that, which touch based on various aspects, right from, let's say, what are the careers in management, or what are the careers in healthcare, what are the careers in creativity, to even topics like how do I manage my time better to sort of crack an entrance exam? How do I crack an entrance exam? How do I write a strong statement of purpose? How do I prepare myself for a personal interview? So right from those smaller things, how do I even, prep myself mentally to handle higher education altogether? So we have resident counselors, we have resident psychologists. How do I handle emotions when I'm trying to deal with a lot of pressure-wise situation? So there are more than 10 sessions that we curate for our applicants. And again, the idea is that can I help my applicants become the best that they can when they come to the interview, and then go with the process. So I think, like I mentioned, everything that we do at Rishihood has to have a component of impact, and that's how we sort of take it forward as well. At the undergrad level, we need them to have a minimum 50% in grade 12, but our admission started quite early. So for the batch in August 2023, my first round of admissions actually happened in December 22, right? So we evaluate you on your past academic records, which is your 10, 12, your extracurricular achievements, your statement of purpose, the performance in the RSAT, and the interview. These are the 5 components that we usually take up for your selection. On the basis of this, the student will be shortlisted or whichever way. And let's say the student is shortlisted, you go through with the entire process of admissions, you confirm your admission. All you have to then ensure is that when your grade 12 exams come, you need to ensure that you get a minimum 50% across any of the subjects. So that is one part. So 12th is not really that important. I won't say not that important, but it's not something that will define your selection within the university, because I have quantitative parameters in terms of the aptitude test and your past academic records to sort of look at things as well. At the postgrad level, again, we need a minimum of graduation scores for 50%. So students can sort of apply to us, go through the entire process. If you're a final year undergrad student applying for the MBA program, just ensure that your overall averages are more than 50 when you come in for your admission process and you submit your document. I think currently at Rishihood, we have students from more than 26 states and a lot of other international students as well who are studying with us for various programs. We do understand the sort of disparity that a lot of students may have in terms of language barriers and likewise as well. So the first semester, the foundational semester that we talk about, which is the Essentials program, does have a dedicated program on academic writing as well, where we do help the students with respect to how they can go through those discourses. And apart from that, there are a lot of mentors on campus that can help you with anyone whenever they come through. I think that way, within Rishihood, it's a very open door policy. A student can walk up to the Vice Chancellor's room anytime if he wants to talk to them. Similarly, you have a dedicated academic affairs, which takes care of all of the requirements that a student might have. And within every school as well, within every particular dean of each and every school. So if you have, let's say, a school of creativity, the dean will ensure that she has parked a certain mentor for every student. And that way, whatever the need, and the needs could be right from, I don't know how to write, to I don't know how to speak, to I don't know how to handle my relationships. It could be anything. And I think the faculty mentors do take in that sort of involvement within their students to try and ensure that they have the best possible environment there. So we have scholarships across multiple areas. Like I mentioned earlier as well, every time a student applies to us, every student is automatically evaluated for a merit scholarship as well. So it's like this. Let's say the overall score on which I evaluate you across my 4-5 parameters of selection is about maybe 100, right? And I have an X number, which is my shortlisting criteria. So if you get that X, you get shortlisted. If you get a little higher than X, which could be my cutoff for scholarships, you get a merit scholarship as well. And merit scholarships range from, let's say, 10% of the tuition fee to say about 100% of the tuition fee. That's how the merit scholarship goes. This is irrespective of your backgrounds. So you could be from an economically underprivileged background or to something which is very secure. I think it totally depends on the student's merit as to how you sort of come through the process and how we give you the merit scholarship. Apart from this, we also evaluate students on scholarships which are based on profile, which could be maybe someone is a sports enthusiast, someone's a national level sports player, or likewise, and you can sort of apply right to us separately in case if you require a scholarship on the basis of your sports achievements. We have a scholarship scheme which is for diversity, which is dominantly for women applicants, and anyone who thinks that you've gotten shortlisted for the program, but you've not received a merit scholarship, but you want a certain financial aid. So you could either write to us for a diversity scholarship, or you could write to us for a financial aid as well. The financial aid is much more exhaustive and it encompasses everyone. So most of the scholarships that are given within the financial aid area are somewhere between, say, 70 to 100% on the tuition fee. In case if a student requires some sort of leeway with respect to their hostel accommodations or likewise, then we try and see what are the avenues in which they could sort of work through with that as well. So I think in terms of a scholarship support system, there's plenty in terms of a student. See, ideally, we are anyway going to evaluate you for a merit scholarship, right? And the counselors are in touch with each and every student to guide them throughout the entire process. So if there is a requirement, if there is something, we obviously try and understand that as well. The more it is merit-based, it's better for the student because it's more natural. And at the same time, either ways, in any particular scholarship, the student is required to maintain a certain CGPA for the continuation of that scholarship into the next year and so on and so forth. So I think that responsibility lies with the student as well. But beyond the merit scholarship or beyond the profile or diversity scholarship, if you think you require financial aid and you're shortlisted, but you've not been given a scholarship part, please do write to us and we definitely want to evaluate your situation and then take it up. I think one sort of, I won't say vision, but one sort of motto that we want to look at all of our curriculum, all of our programs is that we have programs which are Indian, which are at the same time global and at the same time very futuristic as well. So the education at Rishihood is very multidisciplinary in the sense that each and every aspect, if you look at the School of Healthcare, School of Healthcare is held by a gentleman who comes as part of the top 2% scientists in the world. And likewise, if you look at the School of Education, We have someone who's coming in who's one of the top researchers in the entire country in the areas of neurosciences and likewise. So there's a lot of integration of technologies otherwise as well. And just to take up, an example of the neuroscience thing as well. So neurosciences, we have something called as the cognitive learning lab on campus right now, where we use technologies like virtual reality, we have augmented reality, we have AI, we have IoT, so many both devices as well as steps that are used, and these are parked across every discipline. So a psychology student obviously uses concepts of neuroscience in understanding their areas and domains, but I have neuro in the MBA program as well. I have my design students using VR technologies and AR technologies to sort of develop their products and see how these products will actually come to life. So I think there's a lot of integration of technology that we have within our programs. My founder is an IIT Delhi alumnus. My vice chancellor and co-founder is an IIT Bombay and an ISB Hyderabad alumnus. I think technology is something that is just very natural to us. We have students now doing a research on how ChatGPT may or may not really, help them or not help them with respect to their academic researches and likewise. So I think that part is something which is very, very integral to the entire university. And that's how we sort of go ahead and map it into the curriculum as well. At the end of the semester, they are obviously asked to declare finally the majors that they would like to pursue. So they are pursuing a design program. They've joined for a design program, let's say. And at the end of the semester, they do have a choice that should you wish to shift to another program, you could let the Office of the Academic Affairs know. And they have. And these decisions are not done immediately. These decisions are done after they've had enough exposure to all of the other disciplines as well. They do talk to their mentors within the OA, with all of the other schools as well, and then take that decision. So once they shift up, then they shift into the BBA program and so on and so forth. So the only place where I have a restriction currently is that if someone is in a non-healthcare program, if someone is in a program which is a BBA or B.Design or BCom or likewise, and they wish to shift to the healthcare courses, only for public health specialization, I would request, I can only take in students who have a science background, but a science background, I don't necessarily need a biology background as well. I need a physics chem background for sure. So that is a mandatory part for the public health specialization under healthcare. But otherwise, even for hospital administration, I'm more than happy if a humanities student wants to do hospital administration, because I think the perspective that he'll bring out is very, very different. So that guidance is given to them throughout the first semester with respect to where they want to go ahead, what sort of passion, what sort of areas of interest, how do I eliminate? I for sure know that these are areas that I don't want to do at all. So maybe eliminate them. The ones that I have, maybe look at what are the areas of interest. How can I make that into a larger career? What are the areas that I can combine with them? Maybe I want to do design, or I'm torn between, say, design and psychology. Both of them are interesting areas, but if I, with the help of my mentor, if I decide that design is the career that I want to pursue at a larger way, I could still go ahead and take psychology as a minor in the third year. In fact, I could add up more, perspective. So outside of the courses that are offered as majors, which can also be taken as a minor specialization, we also offer subjects like media, Sanskrit, legal studies. So these are courses that and computer sciences as minor specializations. So in the third year, I want to add up a media angle to my design degree, I can take up media as a minor specialization. So I think that flexibility to go ahead and craft your own curriculum is there with the student, and they're amply helped by the mentors that we have.
That's actually pretty interesting and wonderful, simply because most students do not have are not equipped, rather, to make a decision after 12th. So they get swayed by either peers or maybe parents, and then they end up in a course they really hate. So it's quite interesting if they get to change a course because they found something that is like. And I always feel that a career should be built in an area that you really love, because everything will be joyful then.
Otherwise there's no, it's very transient. After 5 years, you already reach a burnout. And we call ourselves Rishihood University. Rishihood is a term coined by Swami Vivekananda in one of his discourses. And Swami Vivekananda is one of our philosophical mentors. The word Rishihood itself means that you achieve the state of your highest potential. Now, for me, my potential is very different. Your potential is very different. So why should it be sort of constricted in the norms that I've done a commerce degree and let me just do BCom because that is what is going to help me? Not necessary. I might do psychology and become extremely better with that. So I think that flexibility and that guidance is given even at the time of application. So when we deliver the Catalyst program, the idea is also to try and see that can I help my child become a little better in terms of understanding where the child wants to go and accordingly guide them for the program. We have a career advancement cell that sort of works with all of the students across. All of our students that we have at the undergrad level have a mandatory internship that they do at the end of every year. So these internships are different, right? So at the end of the first year, they might have a community internship. At the end of the second year, they might have an industry internship and so on and so forth. So they are supposed to do industry internships throughout. There are multiple guest lectures. There are multiple exposure with the corporate that is sort of arranged for them through the career advancement cell as well. We are barely 1.5 hours away from Gurgaon. And with the sort of connect that we have some extremely strong people who have backed the university as a founder advisor, someone like, let's say, Mr. Motilal Oswal, who heads the Motilal Oswal Investments. And he is part of the entire group. So in fact, when he came to the campus last time, he came at around 8 o'clock in the night, had a bonfire with the student, had a conversation with them. A lot of students actually got connected with him saying, can we explore something in finance? Can we explore something? So I think a lot of these interactions are also arranged. And then they have dedicated sessions in terms of preparation for their interviews. So what sort of business etiquettes do you need to have? What sort of preparation you do? What sort of research should you do for a company when you're going for an internship or for a final placement as well? So that ecosystem or that support system is already there. We have someone who heads the career advancement cell who's from a very, very diverse background, right from healthcare to the corporate. He was with a very established institution earlier as well. So I think that way the corporate connect is pretty much taken care of. But my only request to all students has been the fact that when you are evaluating ROI for a university or for an institution, then there are multiple things that you look at in terms of ROI. You don't only look at the fact that I'm placing this much money in tuition fee or this much money in fees, and this is the placement that I get. Oh my God, I didn't get the placement enough, and therefore I need to go out. No, I think the ROI from a university, from an education institution is much more beyond just placements. We're not placement agencies. If I had to be a placement agency, I could just take you in for a 1-month program, improvise your communication, make you look a little better, make you talk a little better, and get you a good placement. You don't need a university education for that, right? The ROI typically from a university education, from higher education for that matter, is on the sort of exposure that you get within the university, is on the sort of conversations, the peer group that you build. Because on an average, a human being is going to change his or her job at least 5 times. And the college is going to only help you for your first job. What happens to your second, third, fourth, fifth? That's the peer network that you're going to build within your university as well. What is the diversity in that place? Who are the people that I'm interacting with? Am I interacting with students only from my own area? Everyone's from Gwalior. Everyone is talking to each other. The perspectives are going to be very simple. So am I getting a campus where I get to meet people from diverse backgrounds? I get to meet people from, let's say, an Assam also, and someone from an Andhra as well, and actually have those different perspectives being discussed for a certain problem that I have at hand. So I think these are areas that you need to look at. You need to look at how much can the university actually help you build your character? What is the value system that you are actually getting into? What is the exposure in terms of diversity, in terms of industry interface, in terms of opportunities that you find out? And like one of my deans says, that the child should be on his own. I mean, the child needs to ensure that he's skilled enough, or rather we impart lifelong learning skills in the child, that whether it's after 4 years or 5 years or 10 years, whenever there is a need to upskill, whenever the child feels that now things are not relevant and I need to upgrade, he has the quality, he has the educational foundation that he can do from the university. So I think that's the ROI that a child should look at, and definitely move ahead with choosing universities in that sense.